All right.
Okay, I'd like to call the September 11th Finance Committee meeting to order. Roll call, Alder Galvin.
Here.
Alder Corpus Dax.
Here.
Alder LaFave.
Here.
And Alder Dorf is here. I'd entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Alder Dax, second by Alder LaFave. Approve the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for approval of the minutes.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Corpus Dax, second by Alder Galvin to approve the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, regular business. All right, item 1 on regular business, request by Elder Nicholson for the records on finances charged by Mr. County for the years of 2016 through 2018 with specifics and explanations for each charge to the city of Green Bay. He has asked me to move that to the next meeting of finance. Is there a
I'll
motion?
make a motion to hold till the next meeting.
Okay.
Second.
Alder Galvin, second by Alder Corpus Dax to hold this item to the next meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Item 2, regular business. Consideration with possible action on a request by the City Assessor's Office to cancel certain property taxes. Staff.
I can take this when the assessor was not able to make it tonight.
Okay.
This is kind of a routine item. This is a business that they were no longer in the city of Green Bay, or they were closed down as of 1/1/17.
Right.
So you will have to cancel this personal property tax.
Okay.
How much was that?
It is Old Country Buffet. Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how much was it, he said?
How much it was? It was for $3,834.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request by Alder Nicholson.
No.
Wait,
No,
number
no.
2.
Number
Oh,
2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back. Let me go back to the agenda and you look at the stuff there.
To cancel the personal property tax.
Okay, the person, okay, sorry.
You're making that motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
I'm
carries
looking
unanimously. Okay, so
You're
the
looking at
motion by
two things.
Alder
Sometimes
LaFave,
you gotta go back.
Second by Alder Galvin to cancel the certain personal property taxes for the Old Country Buffet. All right. Item 3, request by Alder Weary to discuss with possible action funding source for the referendum question enacted by City Council. Per City Clerk, the estimated cost is at least $15,000. Staff.
Okay, again, I will take this one. I asked Chris Teskey, our clerk, to break down and explain to me how she came up with the $15,000. And so there were several emails that went back and forth. But it truly is, it's a lot of the new electronic voting machines that we have. So it's 44 of these DS200s. They have to program the USBs. That's at $180 a piece. Is almost $7,920 of that cost. They have 32 AutoMark flash cards. They have to program that. It's $180 because this is a referendum and these are additional lines that have to be added. That's $5,760. There's 47 different ballot styles, $25 each. That becomes $1,175. That's a total of $14,855. And then we are also prorated a cost from the county for the ballot itself. So there's a question mark there because at this point we don't know what the total cost is and we don't know what our portion would be. And so that is how Chris, the clerk, has come up with a $14,855 plus ballot cost.
Is the ballot separate from the rest of the ballot?
No, but they have to program a separate line item, and the referendum then is only for the city of Green Bay in some cases.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Okay, but I didn't know why there'd be an additional cost per ballot. I didn't know what that last cost was, if there's ballots anyway.
Well, there's extra printing on the ballots, and then they have to staff
It's
with
for
It's
the
just
extra-
prorated for extra lines, just like the
extra
Pier,
lines
and
in the
we did
ballots.
ask the question, like the Pier's gonna get the same thing, they're gonna get additional cost because they have the referendum on their pool. And,
Okay, so various referendums will cost
yeah,
some
they will
extra.
cost additional money.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Any discussion on this?
It will be a 2018 expense, unbudgeted expense. So I think that's where exactly what the Alderman Weary was asking for, where would this come from? Again, I would recommend contingency. That is the purpose of the contingency, is to, for any cost that's not budgeted, to be able to pull from.
Okay. So far tonight, we'll have spent $40,000 of contingency, and that leaves, we still have $47,000 left for the rest of the year.
Personally, this was not a request from, this referendum was not pushed forward by anybody in the community. This was by certain people in the city. We're pushing this, and now we're spending $15,000 on it. I don't know if people were aware that there was gonna be this cost. Some people might have voted for it and just say, hey, you know, thinking it's just gonna go on the ballot. I did not support the referendum, and I don't like spending $15,000 for something that I don't think was needed. Personally, that's my opinion.
The issue's dead. I mean, the vote's been taken on the referendum now. It's
I
just,
know.
we have to
I
pay
know.
for it, so are we gonna do it there or somewhere else? So I think that needs to be the topic of the discussion.
Yeah.
Like, where are we getting the money from?
Well-
That's really the topic. The referendum was already voted on.
Right.
So the funding, the question is the funding source. So, and I've heard that a recommendation that it come from the contingency fund. Is there anywhere else we could get the funding from, other than contingency?
Our other option is potentially, if the election budget runs favorable, you could take it from that budget, but they're really one and the same. It's a cost in the 101 budget. And if it doesn't run favorable enough and we charge it there, then it's gonna look like the clerk and or the election budget they ran over their budget, because now we have an additional 15,000. That's why I recommended maybe to use the contingency, that way it was a one line item. It would stand out, this was the purpose of why this expense and why we had something over budget. And it wouldn't then hurt the election side of it and have them have to explain why the budget was over. Because again,
Okay.
to your point, it wasn't really something that the clerk had any control over.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
All right, so I'd entertain a motion.
So would the motion be a motion to
Use,
take funds from or use the contingency fund to offset the cost of the referendum?
Do
yes.
you want an up to amount? Because right now it's at 14.8 that we can justify, but we know there's another additional cost. Do you want it, if it's over 20,000, do you want it brought back to you? If it's over 15,000, do you want it brought back? I think it's already at 14.8, so it's gonna be very close.
No, it's your motion, but I think it's gonna cost what it's gonna cost.
Yep, but
She's saying it could
we
go
need
higher.
to, yep,
So if we set the limit too low and if there, for something that comes up and it goes over, then.
Okay,
'Cause we
Right,
do-
so I
we
would say
do-
set the limit at 20, and then if it costs more than that, then come back?
Correct. Anything for that contingency does have to have council action. So if you say up to 20, then we internally could take care of that. Where
Okay.
if, I'm just trying to look, it's a resolution that I have to send through. I wonder if we would, I'm looking at the attorney, wondering if that's something we wait until we get the final bill and then pass through the resolution at that point. We get a permission to use a contingency and then we pass through the resolution when we have the exact dollar amount.
I think that would be the cleanest option, otherwise we'd have to amend the resolution later.
Okay, so actually, no matter what, actually, it'll come back to it doesn't have to come back to finance, but the resolution would come back to council once we have the final bill, which would probably, I would guess, in November, December. So
okay, after the.
I guess maybe you don't have to put a max on it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so motion by Alder Corpus Dax to take to have the contingency fund be the funding source for the referendum question. Is there a second?
Second that.
Second by Alder Galvin. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Opposed? No, one no, Alder LaFave. 3 ayes. Okay, thank you. Then, number 4, the consideration with possible action on notice of decision from the U.S. Department of the Interior regarding the intent to take land into trust, Baumgart and Orlando parcels. Do you think we need to go into closed session for this?
We do,
Okay.
so let me tell you in open session what we're going to be discussing. We received a notice of decision from the Bureau of the Interior, the U.S. Department of the Interior. And what they've done is essentially, so we have, for the past 2.5 years, every time we receive a notice of intent to take land into a trust or an application to take land into trust from the tribe to the Department of the Interior, we file the objections on behalf of the city, noting what the concerns are with that action. And then once the decision is rendered, then we decide whether or not we're going to appeal it. So what we'd be doing now is we have a notice from the Department of the Interior saying that they are intending on taking those properties into trust. And so I'll be asking you guys to, in closed session, whether or not you want to pursue this further.
Okay. So do we need the motion first, or do I read the closed
A
session?
motion to go into closed session and then you read it.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session
Motion to go into closed session.
by Alder Galvin. Second by Alder Corpus Dax. The council may convene in closed session pursuant to section 19.85. Is it 1 or L?
It's one.
1G, Wisconsin statutes, for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. The council may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to section 19.852 Wisconsin statutes to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda. Okay, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. And we're now in closed session. We are now back in regular session, and Alder Galvin, do you have a motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we follow staff's recommendation.
I'll second.
Okay, staff? The motion was made to follow your recommendation, is that?
Or to proceed as directed.
To
in closed
proceed
session.
as directed.
Oh, okay. I make a motion that the staff proceed as directed in closed session.
Second. And second by Alder LaFay, who seconded it first before, and then motion by Alder Galvin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Let's back to the agenda. We're on informational.
Mhm.
And that is just the contingency fund was at $87,822.39 at the time of this report.
Okay. And the next Finance Committee meeting will be held on Tuesday, September 25th at 4:30. So is Finance going to go first next time, or are we alternating, or do we just?
Both times, they always said that 4:30, didn't they?
They-
It just
yeah.
means one follows the other.
One
but
follows the
still.
other.
Follows the other.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so Finance first, so we'll have September 25th.
The last two meetings, this time we had an outside guest from M3, the time before we had a couple outside guests in finance, so we kind of went that way. So
That's
that
good.
Yeah.
We get the one that we think you're going to have more people attending.
Okay,
Just the one that was first, okay.
so.
There is a method to the madness.
There is method
I'll
to the madness.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Okay, motion adjourned by Alder Galvin, second by Alder Corpus Dax. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Leave the meeting.